Hello, I'm Enzo, and today it's a beautiful day in Satisfactory. We're currently in the northmost center of the map. What's up here? Well, a giant ocean. How does one use a giant ocean? Well, I think you can see. So, what have I used this place for, you ask? Power. Nothing but power. Specifically turbo fuel power. That right there is 216 fuel generators. They aren't overclocked. If they were overclocked, there'd be far less. I think it's just cool how many there are. The first thing you'll note once I get out of picture mode is I called the place Washburne Refinery. This is a neat little reference to the same place in Borderlands 2. I thought it was just a cool name for it, considering I didn't have a really good name planned for it besides this. And I refined stuff here, so I guess it makes sense. How does this place work, you ask? Well, let's start with the train system, especially because the train is here right now, so I'll be taking a quick trip on it. It all starts out with this train station, of course. This is where I bring in compacted coal from other parts of the map. Compacted coal can be used in coal generators as a fuel source itself, or it can be turned into turbo fuel using fuel and compacted coal. But first, let me explain everything else. This entire plant uses two Mark II pipelines, which is 1,200 crude oil a minute. That is an insane amount of crude oil if you don't understand. I've tapped all of the crude oil fissures in this top area. I even had to overclock one so I could get the perfect 1,200 a minute. The first main thing I should note about all of the recipes used in this entire refinery setup are before tier 7 and 8. Why is that important? Well, we don't have a blender yet. The blender could speed up a lot of the processes, make everything more compact, probably, but definitely more simple. But I don't have that, so we're doing everything the hard way. And I just casually passed the first compact coal station. You may ask, why is this? Well, it's actually because the train kind of has to turn around in the next station. Each station at each end, C Coal 2 and Washburne Refinery, has a loop, so the train turns around. This turns around the train in the right direction so it can actually hit all the stations. I made the train system a closed, smallish loop like this, mostly just because I didn't want to have to make a massive loop back around. I wanted just one single track for the train. And yes, the second loop isn't as refined as the first one. It's kind of ugly, honestly, but it works. The compacted coal setups aren't identical, obviously, but their setups are. By that, I mean the speed in manufacturing. Each one has a total of 18 assemblers and takes in 480 coal and sulfur alike. And there's not much to say. So, if we make 480, or approximately 480, somewhere around there, in each one, that's, let's say, 960 compacted coal a minute. That's a bit overkill, isn't it? Well, once we get back to Washburn Refinery, I'll tell you more of the details. But let's just say 780 is our target. Oh yeah, more details about the train. It's a single train, but it has 6 cars. There are 3 cars for each station it goes to. I also never noticed that the train brakes actually get red hot. I wish it would take a while for them to cool down instead of instantly, but still, that's a really neat detail. And as you can see, these are all the containers full of compacted coal. I made sure that every single one had a container and they all linked together. You can't access the train stuff while the train is at the station. So, in the meantime, let's take a look at our pipelines. Yes, I didn't paint all of the lines black, because that would have been way too much backtracking to do. But if you get the idea, I linked every single little crude oil spot together in 2 pipelines. Makes sense? Yes. I calculated it all so they're just perfect. One of the impure ones is 200% overclocked, because, issues. I can overclock a normal one, but, then you'd have an overclocked normal one, and not a overclocked impure one that acts like a normal one. I don't know the best way to say it, it's just like OCD, I guess. As we get back to the main processing area, you might have also seen these containers. These are just where I stored everything I needed to build this place. There were many, many trips back and forth taking all the stuff to build all of the stuff. And honestly, I realized I didn't really have to color code all of the pipelines. I just remember seeing this in a post somewhere and thinking it was cool. So I did it because it looks cool. While recording the voiceover for this, I'm here sifting through my notes trying to figure out what all of my notes were. But here we go. Okay, we had 40 refineries. 20 were rubber, 20 were plastic. This is basically so you can get a perfect ratio of crude oil. Because for some reason, plastic produces 10 heavy oil residue a minute, rubber produces 20 for some reason. So, yeah, there we go. I did 20 and 20 to balance it out. So we get 600 heavy oil residue. Sure, if you did all rubber, you could get way more, or if you had an alternate recipe, you could get even more. But this is just how I did it. Like I said, all of the liquids here, not just the oil, are color coded. Heavy oil residue is purple, because it looks purple. The plastic and rubber get combined, then they're sorted, and they're put into two containers, plastic or rubber. If there's overflow, it just gets put into the awesome sinks. I had planned to use some of this plastic and rubber somewhere else, but it's such a long journey, I don't know. I think it's just all going to be synced over time. So, what's next, you ask? This. I was planning on doing kind of a water tower idea where I transport it all up and then it goes all down and it's super pressurized, but I ended up building the factory here. This is, for lack of better words, a mess. This is all 20 refineries that turn the heavy oil residue and packaged water into packaged fuel. It's very complicated, but this is the most efficient way, pretty much, to get fuel from heavy oil residue, or oil in the first place. If you're wondering why this is spaghetti, well, it's pretty much because I don't have good conveyors yet. Well, I have Mark IVs, but not Mark Vs, which means I can't perfectly transport all the water bottles to all the packagers, meaning they each have to be on separate lines. So that's fun. Anyways, though, the packaged fuel gets sent right into packagers, where it gets unpackaged. Makes no sense, but sure. That then goes into holding tanks, and as you can see, it's a little crazy. The other reason it was actually great to build everything elevated is so that I could have these the current platform lines of all the conveyor belts. Now, I eventually did fill these up with even more bottles or containers because they kind of needed them, but the simple explanation for this is 20 packagers and 10 water extractors, because one water extractor can fuel two packagers. You need this many because this is the perfect ratio and everything. Yeah, it looks better in my notes. I'm not going to show them because I have a heavy doubt that anyone's going to be able to read my handwriting, because I can barely read my own handwriting. The next step in this wonderful journey is into turbo fuel. Yeah, this is the insane part. This is where all the beautiful yellow fuel lines go and the compacted coal from the train station meets. In, 52 refineries. I forgot about that number. That's the perfect ratio. Technically not. Technically it's 54, but it's 53.3333, whatever. 52 is what I rounded down to. You get the point. 2 rows of 26 refineries later and turbo fuel. Yeah, but you'll notice something. The fuel generators aren't running, or else it would be insanely loud over here. Why is that? Well, I haven't really turned it on yet. So, let's start with a benchmark. Let's see how much power I make. Alright, that's respectable. But I should warn you why I have this much power. Most of it comes from every single geothermal generator I placed down. Yes, I went all around the map and hooked up every single geyser I could find just so I could power this place, or all the refineries, to start making the turbo fuel so that the generators actually work and my power grid doesn't just shut down instantly. Now, conveniently, I don't actually use that much power because I don't have too much built. I mean, yeah, that's a scary number, but 99% of that is the refinery setup over here, so we're pretty good. On to the moment we've probably been waiting for, activating all the fuel generators. I was going to have all this pre-activated, but I thought it would look way cooler if I actually did it in the video. I also have presets of all my favorite colors, so I can color pipes instantly whenever I feel like it. But as we can see, the fuel generators are working. Also, I have to say, the dev team did an amazing job with these fuel generators. Having a generator at my house, I can say these are very realistic when they both start up and shut down. And I know that sound very well, so yeah, awesome job. The only thing that isn't so awesome though is that it's going to take a while for all these to start up. Because of how pipes work, they're prioritizing filling up the one closest to it first, so it's going to take a very long time for that whole series of pipes to all fuel every single generator and for everything to start up. But that's not important here. Look at that power climb. I have to say, I think around 9,000 megawatts is probably where we were before, and that's only going to rise. My calculation for this is somewhere around 32,000 megawatts that this thing can produce. Now, obviously, it's not perfect, it's not going to generate that much, but it definitely comes close to it. While I wait for it to all start up, let's have a moment to look at our beautiful train. This is awesome. You want to know a fun fact? This is the second train I built in my 3 playthroughs of this game, spanning around 180 hours at this point. Let that sink in. The second train I've ever built. Oh yeah, I didn't know what was going to happen there, but that did. Taking a look at our freight platforms, I noticed an abysmally low transfer rate. I'm pretty sure that's just because the containers that we have there act as an amazing buffer for our compacted coal usage, and they're spread out among 3 cars each. So I'm pretty sure that's why it says the transfer rates are also low. Another thing I should mention, I think the reason the bitrate is so low when I'm moving around like crazy is because, well, movement sucks for bit rates, but also because this is just barely what my computer can handle. I've even had to turn down the graphics of this game to make it record. That's just how crazy good the game looks. But anyways, our power production is peaking. The randomness of the power generation is half due to the geothermal generators, which are completely random how much power they generate, within a margin, but also because sometimes fuel can't reach to the end of the line. But 35 megawatts is our current peak. Since the train is here, I wanted to check just how much compacted coal is taken out. I have to say it's actually a fair bit. It's even better that it's spread out across 3 trains each, so that's a bit better. I don't know how else to say that, but it looks like it's working amazingly. That's what I'm proud of. A working train. And it didn't take me too much effort. Before the end of the episode, I just wanted to say Satisfactory is one of my favorite games. Although I've tried to make like 2 series of it, and I think one with friends could be cool if my friends bought the game. Doing just like a series on Satisfactory, I don't think is that interesting, especially with my style of videos. So I'll only be showing off insane projects like this. And spoiler alert, this can be optimized way more than it already is. So look out for that in another video. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I do really appreciate it. If you liked the video, consider liking it. Maybe even subscribing. Anyways, this is going to be Enzo from LookIntoGaming, signing out.